Hey lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by again, and if this is your first time on this channel, you're definitely welcome. Do well to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get to see more of my content. And in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make this really simple A-line dress. And without further ado, let's get started. Alright guys, so this is the material that we're going to use for this tutorial, and here I have 2.5 yards, and this material is a soft crepe material. So here guys, I'll go ahead and start drafting the A-line dress on the pattern paper. Alright, and this is to ensure that the patterns are very visible. Okay, I tried drafting on the material but it wasn't very clear. Okay, so I'll just use the pattern paper to draft the A-line dress. Of course, the pattern paper is not as long as the length I would want, but I'll just go ahead and first draft on the pattern paper, and next I'll just go ahead and transfer it to the fabrics. So right here guys, this is our start line, and the next thing I will do is just to go ahead and mark the shoulder measurement divided by 2, and in this case it is 7 inches. So I'll go ahead and indicate 7 inches on this pattern paper, and I'm going to add half an inch for joining the sleeve. And for the neckline, I'm just going to go ahead and use 3 inches as the width, and for the depth of the neckline for the back, I'm going to use 1 inch, and I'll just go ahead and indicate that here. Then next I'm going to join it together. And for the front neckline, I'm just going to go ahead and use 2.5 inches. All right, and after marking the point, I'm just going to go ahead and connect it to the neck width. So right here guys, this is the back neckline, and the other one here is the front neckline. And right now, the next thing to do is to come to the shoulder line here, and we are going to come down by 1 inch. And this is in order to create our shoulder slant. So I'll just come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to link it up to the neck area there. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and come down from the shoulder line to the chest line. And the chest line in this tutorial is 8 inches, okay? If you don't know how to get your chest line, just go ahead and divide your shoulder by 2. And whatever you get, you're just going to add 1 inch to that. This works well for me. All right, so I'll just go ahead and connect the point together on a straight line like this, and on that straight line I'll just go ahead and link it up like so. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and indicate the vertical lines, and the first point that I'm going to indicate is the bust point, and also I'll go ahead and indicate the hip line, and on those points that I just marked, I'll just go ahead and create a straight line on them. And so right here we have our bust point, all right, and here is our hip line. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and start marking the body measurement starting from the bust circumference. So you are going to divide your bust divided by 4, and whatever you get, you are going to put the value here, and you are going to add 1 inch for ease allowance and 1 inch for seam allowance. All right, and whatever I have on this line, I'm going to transfer also to the bust point. And I'm also going to come to the hip line here, and I'm going to impute cut out my hip circumference, and I'm going to add 2 inches ease allowance. You can add more than this if you want it to be big. Okay, this is already 2 inches is already okay because it's on fold. When you open it, it's going to be 4 inches. Okay, all right, so 2 inches I feel is okay, but if you want it to be more freer, you can add more than that. All right, then I'm just going to go ahead and add 1 inch for seam allowance. Okay, and the next thing to do is to measure what you have here on the hip line, and you're going to add 3 inches to that, and that is what you are going to put on the hem line. And right here I'm just going to go ahead and connect all the points together. And right now the next thing I'll do is to create the armhole curve. And in order to do this, I'll just find the midpoint of this straight line, and I'll indicate that here. And after doing that, I'll just use my curve ruler to link it to the chest line. And up next, I'll come to the shoulder area here, and I'm going to add half an inch to the shoulder area for joining allowance. And before I cut out the pattern, I just feel that this line is too sharp, so I'll just deduct like half an inch from the hem line. Then I connected it together. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut out the pattern now. And right here, guys, this is what our pattern is looking like. And the next thing I'm going to do is to come to the front neckline, and I'm going to come inward by less than half an inch. All right, and I'm going to come down by 4 inches. All right, and afterwards I'm going to link both points together, and we are doing this because the front neckline has a slit. Okay. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and transfer the pattern to the main fabrics. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold the fabrics into 4. We are going to be cutting both the front and the back at once, since this style doesn't have a zip. So like I said earlier, the pattern paper is shorter than the length that I wanted, but here on the material I've already gone ahead to cut the desired length that I want for the dress. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and align the pattern paper correctly, and I'm going to go ahead and cut out the excess. So right here, guys, I've gone ahead to use the pattern to cut the main fabrics, and right here we have both the front and the back piece. Okay, so I'll just remove one piece out of the 2, and that will be for the back piece. Okay, and right here, this one is going to be for the front piece. I'm going to use it for the front piece, so I'll pick up the pattern paper again, and I'll go ahead and cut the neckline for the front. And the next thing I'll do is to go ahead and cut the slit parts and also the neckline on the fabrics. And after cutting that, this is what the neckline for the front looks like. And right here, this is the back piece. All right, so the next thing we need to do is to go ahead and cut facing for both the front and the back piece, and that's exactly what I've done here. And the next thing to do is to go ahead and attach the facing to the neckline. Okay, and while stitching the neckline, I always like to add hemming glue. Okay, so I'll just place the hemming glue on the neckline like so, and I'll stitch along with it. And we are going to repeat the same process to the front piece also. And guys, adding an hemming glue is totally optional, but I just like to do this because I feel that it gives it some kind of stability. Okay, and guys, in order to give the facing much more stability and structure, you can just go ahead and iron stay on it. So guys, this is it after attaching the facing to the main material. So I'll just go ahead now and notch the curved part. All right, and I'll also notch the V area also. I'll repeat the same process to the back piece, and after doing that, I'll just go ahead and turn it inside out, then give it a very good press. That's exactly what I've done here. I've gone ahead to iron both the front neckline and also the back neckline. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and align both the front piece and the back piece together at the shoulder like so. All right, and I'm just going to join it at the shoulder. So to join it at the shoulder, I'm just going to open one side like this, and I'm going to sandwich the other part inside it. All right, then I'm going to stitch on it like so, and I'm going to repeat the same process to the other side. And after joining the shoulder, I'm going to come to the side, and I'm also going to use the allowance that we left there and join it all the way down. And so here, guys, I've gone ahead to join the shoulder of the dress together, as you can see right here, and I've also gone ahead to join it at the side. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is just to pick this side of the dress. I'm going to fold it into 2 like so. All right, and I'm going to come to the edge here and come up by 1 inch. All right, you can do 1.5 or 2 inches, and I'm just going to curve it inward like this just to eliminate that sharp edge. Okay, then I'm going to cut the excess out. And right here, I'm just going to go ahead and turn it to the right side, and this is what our dress is looking like. It's already taken shape already. All right, and the next thing I'll do is just to go ahead and cut the sleeve. So guys, here's the pattern paper that I'm going to use to draft the sleeve. And when you're cutting this kind of sleeve, you need about 15 inches to 14 inches on fold. All right, that is the wideness of the sleeve. All right, generally. Okay, 14 to 15 inches on fold. Then you're going to measure your length, the length of your sleeve, and for me, I'm using 22 inches for the length of my sleeve. Then you are going to add about 3 to 4 inches to that. All right, making like 25 inches. majorly 25 inches, because the longer a trumpet sleeve, the more beautiful it comes out. All right, though I don't have up to like 25 inches here, but I'm just gonna make do with what I have here. All right, so what I'm gonna do next is just to come down by 4 inches, which is my cap height, and I think 4 inches works for most sizes. Okay, so I just indicated with a straight line, and the next thing you need to do is to get your armhole divided by 2, and for me, my armhole divided by 2 is going to give me 8.5. okay, so I'm just going to indicate 8.5 on this straight line, and after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and connect from there. I'm going to connect to the center here. And up next, I'll just measure what I have here, and I'm going to find the midpoint. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and create an inverted S. So I'll just use my marker to go ahead and highlight it. And the next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and add 1.5 inches sewing allowance to the bicep here. And from there, I'm just going to connect it down. And the next thing to do is just to go ahead and cut out the sleeve. So guys, the next thing to do is to use this pattern to cut on the fabrics. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and fold the fabrics into 2 like this. I'm cutting both sleeves together at once. Okay, so I'm going to place the pattern here. Like I said, I don't have enough to go. All right, this fabrics has its own pattern that I need to follow. All right, so I just have to make do with what I have here. So here I just place it on it, and I place the pattern paper on it, and I'm just going to cut. And after cutting the sleeve, I'm just going to go ahead and notch the center. And right, loves, the next thing to do is just to go ahead and attach the sleeve to the main dress. All right, so I'm just going to fold the sleeve into 2. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and stitch the sewing allowance. Then after stitching the sewing allowance, I'm going to go ahead and attach it to the armhole like so. And that's exactly what I've done here, guys. I've gone ahead to stitch the sleeve to the dress. Okay, and I also went ahead to fold the hem of the sleeve and also the hem of the dress.